What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel. Now, today we are going to be adding another episode to our Taking 'em Down series. Now, today we're going to be talking about a huge threat in the OU tier, and that is Dracovish. Now, Dracovish is one of the new fossils that was added in this generation, and in case you don't know about what he does, up in the iCard above, I'll throw my competitive decks episode that we have already done on him, but very briefly we'll talk about what this guy does. So basically with the fossils are these abominations of nature that there are two heads and two bottom halves of the body, and they just get kind of shoved together by this lady right outside of Stow-on-Side. And so basically the head determines the signature move that it gets, and the body determines a lot more of the moves that it gets, as well as the actual stats of it, whether it's fast and offensive or whether it's more slow and bulky. So this is one of the faster and more offensive ones, and he gets a signature move called Vicious Rend. Now, Vicious Rend is base 85 power, so you're like, okay, that's not that bad, except for the fact that it doubles in power if the user moves first. 85 doubled is insane amounts of power, coming off of a strong jaw boost, plus stab, plus all kinds of others. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so this thing hits incredibly hard. 2-hit KOs at minimum most things in the metagame right now. Anything that you think would take a hit, it probably doesn't, just by it clicking Vicious Rend. So it's a very difficult mon to deal with. However, it is kind of a one-trick pony, and so we do have ways to deal with that. But this is one of the more common sets right here: Vicious Rend, Psychic Fangs, Leech Life, and Low Kick. Some people opt to run things like Earthquake or Outrage. Ice Fang is also somewhat popular. So it can run several different moves, but most of the time this mon is just going to come in and click Vicious Rend and just kind of do damage. So how do we deal with it? How do we take this insane threat down? Well, the first and I think most competent counter is a Water Absorb Seismitoad. Now, Seismitoad is very unique in the fact that it jumped from NU last generation, and it is now sitting in OU as the fourth most used mon, I think, for the month of December. We haven't seen the January stats yet, but yeah, this thing jumped in usage insanely moving into this generation. And one is its awesome typing. Being water ground is a really great typing in this generation, and it getting water absorbed to be able to take those hits from Dracovish. This thing is actually so much better than it used to be. It also gets access to what's it called, Swift Swim, if you were to run a more offensive set. But I like this defensive set right here, and you can Scald to burn it and basically make it useless, or you can Toxic it to wear it down. But you can switch this in on a Vicious Rend anytime you want, and it will do absolutely no damage to you. And actually, it heals you. Instead of hurting you, it actually heals you. So yeah, this is one of the biggest counters. Now, one thing that I didn't mention in this video, but one that's so similar I didn't think I should make an entire slot for it, was Gastrodon. Gastrodon has the same typing, and a lot of people run Assault Vest on that, but it gets access to Storm Drain, which basically does the same thing as Water Absorb, except instead of healing you, it raises your special attack by 1 stage. So, but either way, you are immune to water types. And of course, being a ground type, you're immune to electricity. So it really helps this mon out a lot. So it can really cover Dracovish really, really nicely, and then start whittling down your opponent with burns or poison. So the next mon I want to look at is a Galarian Corsola. Now, this is one of the few things in the metagame that does get 2-hit KO'd by a Dracovish. However, what you do is you bring this in, and it goes for its Vicious Rend. It does a lot of damage. You go for a Strength Sap. This thing's attack is so high that you actually heal back up all the way to full and then drop it down a stage. By the time you've dropped it a stage, it is no longer a 2-hit KO. and you can then heal back up to full again. You can burn it, you can keep healing up. Basically, once you get that first strength sap off, the Dracovish can't do anything to you anymore. So it's really, really great. But you do have to keep in mind, this thing does need to come in at almost full health, because it does still do about 60-something%. It still hits really, really hard. But if you have enough health to cover that, you can bring this in and go for strength sap, and then you are going to be good for the rest of the game, as long as Dracovish is still in. So the next mon that I want to look at is a Ferrothorn. Now, Ferrothorn is a very commonly used mon, obviously, and its typing, of course, being Grass Steel, is great against Dracovish. Dracovish doesn't really get much to hit Ferrothorn, really. Ferrothorn really eats all of the hits that it would want to go for. And I do have Knockoff and Thunderwave on this set. Typically, I wouldn't run both of these on the same set, but just to show what options he does have, I did put that on here. So Knockoff would be able to get rid of his Choice Scarf, which most of them are, and Thunderwave would be able to slow him way down. So you could run either of those options, depending on what your team needs as far as dealing with other threats. Thunderwave might be useful if you can catch a Dragapult coming in. Dragapult likes to come in on this because it typically carries fire type coverage, so you could catch that off guard. You could have Knockoff if you like getting rid of Choice Scarfs, if you like getting rid of healing items such as Leftovers or Black Sludge, anything like that. So yeah, this gives him a little bit more utility, and it also allows you to deal with Dracovish that would otherwise do a lot of damage to the rest of your team. Another point that another pointy boy that will help us out is Toxapex. Now, Toxapex is absolutely great against Dracovish. Even a Psychic Fangs coming off of Dracovish only does like 20-something%. It might do 30. Earthquake doesn't do half. I mean, this thing eats hits for days. And so you can just click Baneful Bunker, and it will go ahead and poison that Dracovish, or you can scald it to burn it and make it essentially useless, and then you can recover off the damage that it deals. But a lot of them don't even carry Earthquake, so you are typically pretty good on Toxapex. It typically covers anything that you want, anything that you need it to do. All right, and the last one is going to be Dragapult. Now, obviously, we've covered Dragapult in an earlier episode of this series, and this thing is a great counter to Dracovish, and the reason is a Jolly Max Speed Dragapult actually outspeeds a Jolly Scarfed Dracovish. So 273, this has 421. So if you see here, 421 for a Dragapult, and we only reach 409 on a Dracovish that is Jolly and Choice Scarfed. So yeah, this thing is a really big threat, actually. This thing actually just completely counters it. And so if you don't know that, if the person is bringing in a Dracovish and is scarfed and thinks they're going to outspeed, you being timid is going to just go ahead and take that. Now, if you are modest, you will be slower, so you do need to keep that in mind. But a timid Dragapult will always outspeed a scarfed Dracovish. So yeah, that is going to be it for today's episode of Taking Them Down. So if there are any other counters that I didn't mention, obviously I just ran out of room on this team, but if there are any other counters in the that you can think of, go ahead and throw those in the comments down below, and let me know what you think of these sets right here. I think they're really good counters to Dracovish, but there really aren't that many counters to Dracovish, to be honest. But this series is just to give you a few ideas. If your current team is really struggling with Dracovish, maybe consider putting one of these on your squad. But so yeah, anyway, that is going to be it for today's video. So like I said in yesterday's Wi-Fi battle, there will be a video going up tomorrow. Typically I don't upload on Sundays, but I did miss uploading on Wednesday because my dog was at the vet getting fixed, and he was not very happy with me, so I needed to look after him, make sure everything was okay. And so I'll be back with a video tomorrow, and we'll be back on our regular schedule going into next week. So yeah, that is going to be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and like I said, let me know in the comments what you think about these sets and if you have any suggestions for other sets. But so yeah, until tomorrow, have a great day. See y'all later. Bye bye.